as a color piece, and the fact that it's blended with all of this rubble and remnants of what this... Hey guys, and welcome to sunny California. In this episode, we're actually going to be exploring San Pedro, which is a community located in the city of Los Angeles. And what I like about this place is the fact that they have a really big port, which is the Los Angeles port. It's an international port. There's a lot of really big boats that come here. And at the same time, there's a lot of people that come and sail here because they have their own boats. But what I like about this area is the fact that they have a lot of beaches. There's a lot of places to walk in, such as parks and different green areas. And also, if you're trying to avoid some of the congestion from the regular places that a lot of tourists go to, like Santa Monica and the Malibu beaches, well, San Pedro is your place to go, so let's explore. San Pedro is a community within the city of Los Angeles, California. Formerly a separate city, it consolidated with Los Angeles in 1909. The Port of Los Angeles, a major international seaport, is partially located within San Pedro. The district has grown from being dominated by the fishing industry to a working-class community within the city of Los Angeles to a rapidly gentrifying community. One of the coolest things to visit right here in San Pedro is actually the Korean Friendship Bell. And as you can tell, the building is really cool looking. There's a huge bell in the middle, but at the same time, the building itself is very Asian looking and almost as if it's part of a martial art film. And me, who loves to shoot martial art fight sequences for my short films, this is really a great location to come and film your scenes. But at the same time, what I really love is that you get to see a beautiful view of the sea, smell that fresh air. On one side, there's the port, then there's a park a little bit further down there. And it's really, really cool and so pleasant to just enjoy the sun and enjoy your day right here. The Korean Friendship Bell is a massive bronze bell housed in a stone pavilion in Angels Gate Park. It is modeled after the divine bell of King Seongdeok, the Great of Silla, also known as the Emille Bell, which is the largest bell ever cast in Korean history. The bell was presented by the South Korean government to the United States to celebrate the bicentennial of the US and to symbolize friendship between the two countries. Since San Pedro is a port city, well, there is the ocean. And I think it's so cool that there is a park right in front of the ocean. It's adjacent to the park that has the Korean Friendship Bell. And it's a really quaint little area. There's a lot of cool little buildings. There's even an outdoor theater, so I'm guessing that they have some live performances sometimes. But it's just really, really quiet. You get to enjoy the beautiful weather, look at all the birds flying, and obviously, well, because there is the sea, it just has such a great sea smell and you feel so refreshed, and I honestly just feel so blessed. Point Fermin Park consists of 37 landscaped acres of tree-shaded lawns, colorful gardens, and a promenade along the edge of the Palisade. The scenic park is the southernmost point in Los Angeles. The area was given its name by the British explorer George Vancouver, who visited here in 1793 and decided to thank Father Firmin Francisco de la Suenne for his hospitality at the mission in Carmel. The vantage point provides spectacular views of the coast and Channel Islands. It's a perfect site for picnics or a leisurely stroll. This park is really noteworthy with its beautiful sea views, but at the same time, when you're in this park, there's a couple of buildings that you should actually check out, like the one behind me, which is actually the Point Fermin Lighthouse, which was built in 1874. It's really noteworthy because back in the day, this was the first light point or navigational light point for boats to get into the San Pedro Bay, and it's right here in the park, still standing. It's a museum and you can visit it inside, and yes, it is beautiful. Point Fermin Light was built in 1874 and designed by Paul J. Pelz with lumber from California redwoods. The original Fresnel lens from the lighthouse was removed in the 1940s and had been missing for decades. After being found and positively identified on November 13, 2006, the lens was relocated to a display in the restored Lighthouse Museum from the real estate office of Louis Boucher in Malibu. The Point Fermin Light building has now been restored to its original state and is open to the public as the Point Fermin Lighthouse Historic Site and Museum. If you're willing to be a little bit adventurous, there's actually a really interesting park here in San Pedro, which is called the Sunken City. And this place used to just be a simple, normal waterfront park, but following a landslide in 1929, this area was actually closed off. But as I said, if you're willing to go on a little adventure, you can still visit it. And this area is known for the fact that a lot of graffiti artists have come to express their art. So there's a lot of different colors, a lot of different art to explore, but at the same time, there's a lot of remnants of this area, so you get to see rubble mixed in with nature and how nature overtook the city, and the city is still part of nature. So if you're trying to see something cinematic or something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, come here. It's really, really worth it. As mentioned, the Sunken City is the site of a natural landslide which started in 1929 and caused several beachside homes to slide into the ocean. Throughout the years, word of the fenced-off Sunken City area spread out and a cult following grew from that, including a big graffiti scene. Nowadays, this area is mostly filled with ruins of the old neighborhood, many pathways filled with rock-painted and graffiti artwork, and lots of unstable rock mounds. With the Pacific Ocean as a backdrop, it's truly a visually stunning sight to see. There definitely is a lot of graffiti in this Sunken City, but at the same time, I must admit that, well, the artwork isn't super pretty. What makes it interesting and pretty to look at is the fact that it is all blended together, and the fact that there's so many colors in all of the graffiti, and also the fact that it's all mixed in with all this rubble and remnants of what this place used to be. So yeah, very eerie, very covered with graffiti, and super interesting to see. I've been speaking so much of the sea, and yeah, I think it would be silly if I didn't come really close to the sea, and it is really gorgeous. It's not an actual proper beach. There are a couple of surfers, and you could technically lay down on the floor, but there isn't really much sand. It's mostly rocks, but I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to look at the water and smell the sea and listen to all the waves coming down and stuff. It's just gorgeous. I really feel blessed to be here. This beautiful rocky beach is part of the Abalone Cove Park, which features two beaches, the Abalone Cove and Sacred Cove. Even though this beach area is a little bit of a trek in order to get to it, getting down to the beach is really worth it, as the views of the ocean are just breathtaking. Also, looking up at the cliffs and seeing the grandness of nature really can be eye-opening at how wonderful nature is, and how small we are compared to the grandness of the world and the ocean. And of course, if you want a more traditional beach without all these rocks like I showed you before, we do have a sandy beach here in San Pedro. It's called the Cabrillo Beach. It's not too far away from the Korean Friendship Bell, maybe 16 to 20-minute walk. But if you have a car, it's another 5 minutes with the car, and there's plenty of parking, paid parking, street parking, and it's really quaint. There's much less tourists than in your traditional beaches like in Santa Monica. It's really fun to be here. There's a lot of families. People are barbecuing. People are just relaxing, playing on the sand. You can swim. There's some people that are also surfing, and there's also a little bit more in the distance. There's a bunch of boats, so people do own boats. You can rent a boat, or you can just watch the boats. And if you just want to have a good day, come here to Cabrillo Beach. There really is a lot of stuff to do here in San Pedro. Cabrillo Beach is a historic beach named after Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo, who was the first European to sail along the coast of California. Along with the inner and outer beaches of Cabrillo Beach, the 370 acres of land also encompass several complexes that are open to the public. The beach is on both sides of the eastern point of the Palos Verdes Peninsula. This peninsula is 1.6 miles long and serves as a breakwater. Inner beach is located within the breakwater where the water is calm, whereas the outer beach is located on the outside of the breakwater, which is where one would find the ocean surf. Because of this, Cabrillo Beach is a popular destination for those interested in water sports such as swimming, windsurfing, kitesurfing, kayaking, and scuba diving. I wasn't kidding when I was saying that San Pedro is really a port city that's next to the sea and that there's a lot of boats. Here we are at a docking station with a bunch of boats, not the big boats like in the LA port, but basically smaller boats that people take out to the sea for leisure and that people own or rent. And yeah, I thought that this would actually be a perfect place to end this vlog. I really hope that you guys enjoyed coming on this visit of San Pedro and the surrounding areas. And if you did enjoy it, please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, leave me a comment too. Let me know if there's other areas in the San Pedro region or the LA region that you'd like me to visit, and I'll be sure to consider it and probably make a video about it. Either way, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.